What is going on, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be going through my final top 25 rankings for the 2024 college football season. Now, my rankings are way different than most people's rankings. I am basically ranking these teams off of who I think would win on a neutral site field if they played tomorrow. So I am ranking the 25 best teams in college football right now, in my opinion. So nothing makes these rankings valid. This is just my opinion, so feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. But without further ado, let's get into my top 25. And at number 25, I do have Kansas State. I know Kansas State lost 4 games in the Big 12, and they weren't anywhere near the top of the Big 12 standings. But 3 of those losses come to teams that I have ranked inside the top 25, and the other loss was a tough road loss at Houston. But when Kansas State is playing their best football, they are a very good football team. They run the ball very well, and they are a well-coached football team, and I do have this team at number 25. Right ahead of them at number 24, I have Iowa State. They beat Kansas State a couple of weeks ago, so I can't really rank Kansas State ahead of them. I do think Iowa State is a better football team than Kansas State. But I also think some people are overrating this Iowa State team because their run defense is very bad. At the start of the season, Iowa State looked like they were going to have one of the top defenses in the nation, but their defense really fell apart. They still had a pretty good season, but I don't think they would beat the teams I had ranked ahead of them. And at number 23, I have Illinois. Illinois has been a pretty consistent team this year, and the offense has been playing at a high level. They had that tough loss to Minnesota, but they bounced back and won their last 3 games, scoring 38 points in each of those games. And their only other 2 losses on the season are to the teams that played in the Big Ten championship game in Oregon and Penn State. Illinois was a very good football team, and they had one of the top scoring offenses in the Big Ten. Brett Bielema is a good head coach, and this was just a solid squad in 2024, and I have them at number 23. At number 22, I have LSU. I know they kind of had a collapse near the end of the season, but I still think this is one of the top 25 teams in the country. Their defense was definitely improved this year. They had their concerns on offense, but they had a better defense. It wasn't the best season LSU put together, but I am putting them in the top 25 by number 22. At number 21, I have BYU. They will be playing in the Alamo Bowl against a good Colorado team, and that should be a fun, high-scoring game. BYU is a good football team, but they did collapse near the end of the season. But they still managed to win some tough games this year, and they are a good team, and I have them at number 21. At number 20, I have Baylor ahead of BYU. And I know BYU actually beat Baylor earlier in the season, but right now I would take Baylor over BYU because Baylor is one of the hottest teams in the country, and nobody's even talking about it. This team is set for the future. Dave Aranda and this Baylor squad won 6 consecutive games, and because of that, Dave Aranda has kept his head coaching job in 2024. This Baylor team is a team that could have played in the Big 12 championship game if they didn't have a start to the season. But they really figured some stuff out. They got a really good run game going with Washington, and Robertson really stepped up at quarterback as well. This is a good football team, and they had one of the top offenses in the Big 12. They will be playing LSU in a decent bowl game, and I do think they could win that game and make a statement. It will be interesting to see what Baylor does moving forward, but they have a lot of potential moving forward. At number 19, I have Colorado. They deserve a spot in my top 25. Their offense is really good, but the defense stepped up drastically. They have one of the top defensive lines in the Big 12, and they are near the top of the country in sacks per game. The transfer portal effect really helped this Colorado team. They will be losing some pieces after this season, but I do think Deion Sanders is starting to figure it out at Colorado. This is a good football team, and I have them at number 19. Right ahead of them, I have Missouri at 18. They underperformed this season, but I do like how they finished their season with a winning streak, and the offense started to get going. They won 3 of their last 4 games and scored 28 plus points in those 4 games. They nearly beat a South Carolina team on the road that I am very high on, and I'll talk about later. But like I said, I like how Missouri finished this season. I think they are a solid squad. And I am putting them at number 18 in my top 25. At number 17, I have Boise State. And I know they are ranked inside the top 10 in the College Football Playoff Committee, but I don't think they would beat the teams that I am going to rank ahead of them. I think Boise State is too reliant on their run game. And when they play a talented team in the College Football Playoffs, they will probably stumble and lose. So I'm only putting Boise State at number 17, but this is a pretty high ranking for them because it's hard for a group of 5 team to get ranked this high. But Ashton Jeanty is a beast, so I'm putting them at number 17. And right ahead of them at number 16, I have Texas A&M. They are a team that was a bit inconsistent and collapsed near the end of the season, but they were still a pretty good team this year and they had some big ups, and Mike Elko is a good football coach. When the offense finds its rhythm, they are very hard to stop with Marcel Reed at quarterback, and they have a good run game. I do think Texas A&M would beat the teams below them on a neutral site field if they played tomorrow, and I have Texas A&M at number 16. This may be a hot take to some people, but I have Florida at number 15. Look, without DJ Lagway, this team doesn't come anywhere near the top 25. But DJ Lagway is one of the best freshman quarterbacks in the nation, and he's helped this team grow. The defense stepped up, and DJ Lagway really helped elevate that offense when they needed him. Florida went 7-5, and they had a great end to the season, and I think they deserve a spot in the top 15. When DJ Lagway is starting for this team, I think they could beat just about anybody in the country, and the future is actually very bright for this Florida team. At number 14, I have Alabama. I know I have them pretty low, but that loss to Oklahoma was just so bad. I know when they are playing their best football, they can be dangerous, but too much relies on Jalen Milroe to have his best game of the season. Jalen Milroe is basically that whole offense, and Kalen DeBoer needs to figure something out at Alabama and pick up some pieces on offense next season, because there is a lot to clean up. Alabama didn't make the college football playoffs, and I think it was very well deserved. They do not belong in the playoffs. And I have Alabama at number 14. Right ahead of them at number 13, I have Indiana. I debated putting Alabama above Indiana, but I really do not trust Alabama right now. And I think Indiana is a well-balanced enough team that they would be able to beat Alabama. And they are in the college football playoffs as well, and they are a very well-coached football team. The defense has been decent this year. We'll see how they match up against good teams at the line of scrimmage because it didn't go so great against Ohio State and Michigan. But I have Indiana at number 13. I think they are a good football team. Right ahead of them at number 12, I have SMU. When this team doesn't turn the ball over, they can be dangerous. They really screwed themselves in the first quarter against Clemson in the ACC championship game. If SMU played a four-quarter game, they would have beat Clemson. SMU has been one of the best at forcing turnovers in the country, but there's still some things they need to clean up, and I only have them at number 12. At number 11, I have Arizona State. I might have them pretty high in my rankings. Maybe they wouldn't beat the teams below them, but I think Arizona State is one of the hottest teams in the country right now. And I honestly think they deserve a spot in the playoffs. Cam Scatterbo is a beast. He's the only running back in the country with over 1,000 rushing and 400 receiving yards. They are a young team playing with fire in their hearts, and I have Arizona State at number 11. At number 10, right ahead of them, I have Clemson. They've really been tested lately playing back-to-back games against South Carolina and SMU, and I think Clemson has one of the better defenses in the nation. I've been really impressed with the defense. And Dabo Swinney is a veteran head coach, and I am ranking this Clemson team at number 10. Now here's where my rankings get controversial, because Ole Miss had a couple of tough losses, but I still have them at number 9. Look, that loss to Florida on the road was a tough loss, and their other bad loss came to Kentucky earlier in the season before they got anything going. But overall, I think Ole Miss is a top 10 team in the nation right now, and I think they would beat the teams below them on a neutral site field if they played tomorrow. I am still high on Ole Miss. I think they are a well-balanced football team. They just had that unfortunate loss to Florida, and Florida has been playing really good lately, so I don't hold that against them too much. And I do have South Carolina ranked ahead of Ole Miss, despite Ole Miss beating South Carolina by 20 plus. Look, South Carolina's running back wasn't fully healthy in that game, I believe. But I also think South Carolina has turned their season around, and they've been playing a lot better lately, and I would take them over Ole Miss if they played tomorrow. I think South Carolina is a very good football team. It's unfortunate that they couldn't make the playoffs because I think they could have made a run. They have had one of the top defenses in the nation lately, and the offense has been picking it up. Lenoir Sellers is actually a dangerous dual threat quarterback, and I have South Carolina at number 8. Now, as we get into my top 7, all 7 of these teams are in the playoffs, and I think they could make a run to win the national championship. Now, let's start off with a dark horse. At number 7, I have Tennessee. It's pretty simple with this Tennessee team. They run the ball super well, and they play very good defense. But if the offense can pick it up more and Nico Iamaleava could step up, this team could be dangerous, and I have them at number 7. At number 6, I have Penn State. I really don't know what to expect from this team, but they have an easy path to the national championship. They are on the easier side of the bracket. They would just have to get by Notre Dame and a Georgia team that might not even have their star quarterback in Carson Beck. I think Penn State has some concerns in the secondary, But overall, they have a really good defense, and the offense has been playing better lately. Ultimately, they couldn't keep up with Oregon, but this is still a very good football team, and watch out for Penn State. At number 5, I have Notre Dame. Look, I debated ranking this team higher, but they haven't really played anybody, and I don't think they match up with the teams above them talent-wise. But Notre Dame has still been one of the most consistent teams in the country, and they have the largest margin of victory in the country, and I have them at number 5. At number 4, I have Ohio State. This is a team that lost to Michigan but could still go and win it all. That loss to Michigan was embarrassing. I don't know what Ryan Day and that coaching staff is doing, but this team still definitely has the pieces to go all the way, and I have Ohio State at number 4. At number 3, I have Texas. I am really questioning this Texas team. A lot of these teams have big questions, but I can't trust that Texas defense. They have been extremely dominant all year. I know they haven't had any ranked wins, and their only losses come to Georgia. But I am ranking Texas at number 3. I think they have potential on offense and a very good defense. And at number 2, I have Georgia. I don't know who else to rank here. There's just not enough we could take away from these teams, but Kirby Smart is one of the best coaches in college football, and this team will be ready for the playoffs. They could definitely drop even further on this ranking because of the Carson Beck injury, but I am going to keep Georgia at number 2. And at number 1, I have the Oregon Ducks. I think this is pretty simple. They've been the most consistent and dominant team in the country. They found ways to win high-scoring and low-scoring games, and that is an attribute of an elite football team that can win national championships. Oregon's never done it before, but I think this could definitely be the year, and I am putting Oregon at number 1 in my final top 25 rankings. But anyways, you guys let me know what you think about my rankings down in the comments below. But let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel because we upload a ton of college football content. And we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing. And also consider checking out my socials down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.